Hi folks, I'm Shashank. I work with Ditto Insurance. We are an insurance advisory platform where we deal with health and term insurance plans. Now, if you're out here looking for quality advice, then we recommend you to book a free, of course, consultation with our advisors with a link in the description. With the introduction out of the way, folks, let me now introduce our guest today, Sushant. He is the Senior Program Manager here at Ditto. And today we are going to talk about Aditya Birla's Sun Life Insurance. Sushant, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
So, Sushant, let's start with the introduction and the basic metrics, how they're operating. So,
Right.
take us through the details.
So they actually do have quite an interesting story. Aditya Birla Sun Life was established in the year 2000. And it's actually a joint venture between Aditya Birla Capital and Sun Life Insurance Incorporated from Canada. So yeah, and I think over the last 20, 25 years, they've really established themselves by offering a very diversified portfolio of plans, right? Ranging from term insurance to ULIPs to endowments, even child plans and retirement plans as well. So I think they've really tried to cater to pretty much all the sort of sectors of the audience.
All right, all right. And how are they operationally?
I think if I were to talk about their metrics, first, if you look at claim settlement ratio, for example, quite good. In the recent years, their average has been just over 98%, which is well above the industry average and a really good number. If I were to talk about amount settlement ratio, pretty solid on that front too, about 94% change, which is pretty good. Coming to the complaints volume, very reasonable. For every 10,000 claims, they've had just 5 complaints. Once again, that's well below the industry average. And in terms of annual business, they've been growing steadily year on year. So we're looking at about 6,500 crores of annual business per year.
Okay, pretty solid metrics over there. Now, let's talk about their offerings in terms of term plans.
So they have about 3 term plans. If I were to pick their flagship one, which is called Digi-Shield, under that is about 10 variants or options that you can play around with. So one would be a return of premium variant where you get your money back at the end of the plan. One would be a whole life cover where you're allowed to be insured for the entirety of your life, meaning until 99 or 100 years of age. If I were to talk about the age of entry for this plan, it's about 18 to 65. For sum insured, you're allowed to buy a minimum of 30 lakhs and there's no upper limit, which is quite interesting. Right? Most companies set a cap that you can't buy more than 10, 20, 30 crores. Here there is no cap, of course, subject to your eligibility and underwriting. In terms of riders and optional benefits that they offer, there are some interesting features there too. They have an accidental death and disability benefit, wherein for an accidental death you're paid a higher sum insured. For an accident disability, you're paid a percentage of the rider based on the disability that happens, and this is all clearly listed out.
All right.
They have a critical illness variant. Even there they have 2 options. So one is a critical illness accelerated variant covering about 42 illnesses. And then there's a normal critical illness variant covering just 4 critical illnesses. So I feel there maybe they probably are lacking a little bit, whereas other brands offer the 20, 30, 40 illnesses.
That's right.
So that's probably one place where I would say they're slightly lacking.
Okay.
They also offer another free benefit called the life stage benefit, where you're allowed to increase your sum insured up to 100% in the future based on certain life stages like marriage and having kids. This plan also comes with an inbuilt terminal illness benefit. In case someone's terminally ill, they can claim an accelerated amount of their term insurance. Lastly, they have some unique features such as a surgical care rider, meaning in case you require a surgery of some sorts, diagnosed and approved by a medical professional, they will pay up a certain amount to financially support you. And they also have a hospicare benefit, which very few insurance companies offer, which is more of a health insurance benefit if you ask me. But
Okay.
how this feature works is that once you're admitted to the hospital, if you're there for more than 2 or 3 days, they give you a certain daily cash allowance. Daily cash is what we call it in health insurance terms, but
Correct.
in term insurance they call it the hospicare benefit. So you're given a daily allowance every day to kind of help you with miscellaneous expenses. But yeah, I think that more or less summarizes the Digi-Shield plan.
Digi-Shield is a really, really comprehensive plan. Now, I've also gone through the brochure and they also have something called as an income Suraksha plan.
Right.
Some more details on that?
This actually is a very interesting take on term insurance, right? They've really approached it from a different angle altogether.
Okay.
So even under this, there are 2 variants. One is called the fixed income plan, wherein they focus on giving your nominees the death benefit in the form of monthly income. So how they've done it is that you get to choose what amount you want your nominees to receive. For example, you say that I want them to receive 1 lakh rupees per month in case something were to happen to me. They offer this for a fixed tenure of 10 years or the remaining of the policy tenure, whichever is higher. So if I were to give you an example, let's say I buy a term insurance for 30 years and the person or the insured member passes away in the 15th year. Now, his family will receive 1 lakh per month for the next 15 years because that was the remaining of the policy tenure.
Okay.
This is one example. So, the other one is the increasing income protection variant that they have. Here, how it works is whatever income you've decided that your family should receive, that amount will keep increasing by 5% year on year from the date you've bought the plan. The tenure here remains the same. The payout tenure is 120 months or 10 years basically. So, meaning if someone has bought a plan and 5 years later he were to pass away. Now, initially when he bought the plan, he opted for 1 lakh rupees as monthly income. But in those 5 years, this has been compounding. So now, 5 years later, when something happens, his family is eligible to receive 1.21 lakhs or so approximately per month.
Okay.
And this will still keep increasing as it's paid out until it reaches an upper cap of about 1.5 lakh rupees. So basically 1.5 times of the income you asked for. Should you have asked for 2 lakhs, it will grow until it reaches 3 lakhs. 1.5x essentially.
Understood.
Quite interesting variance, right? I think something unheard of altogether in term insurance.
True.
But if you were to ask me, and we even consulted with a few financial experts, they're also of the opinion that, look, maybe this variant isn't the most helpful or beneficial. And like I said, I'm of the same opinion as well. Right? I believe a term insurance or life insurance should have a lump sum payout to the nominees or family members.
Exactly.
Reason being, this gives them the flexibility to do what they want with the money. You're not leaving it with someone and saying that, look, I'm happy with the lakh a month. I'd rather the family gets the 1 or 2 crores, and one, if they have any major debts, they can clear them off. They have some big expenses coming up, it might support them. Or two, at least they can open something as simple as an FD and kind of generate 6-7% interest every year, right? So you have a steady flow of income while you also have that corpus lying as a security in the bank.
Makes sense.
So from a financial standpoint, I would still always go for a lump sum option. But I think just how interesting and unique these were, I think definitely worth discussing.
Definitely worth a mention. Now we've covered both these plans. Let's quickly go into the third plan.
So the last variant is called the salaried term plan. As the name suggests, is something that's specifically for salaried individuals only. It comes with some unique benefits, but in a way, it's also similar to the Digi-Shield plan.
Okay.
Let's say in terms of the age of entry firstly, right? 18 to 65 is the maximum age of entry. The duration, they've allowed a maximum tenure of up to 70 years. That's the capping they've set. In terms of the cover amount, 25 lakhs is the bare minimum you can choose. And there's no upper limit, of course, subject to underwriting and your financial eligibility. It comes with a free rider of terminal illness benefits, so that's an added advantage as well. Pricing, I think, is where they really stand out, right? They've really designed this in such a way that they offer some additional discounts for salaried individuals and also on the basis of gender.
Okay.
Like we've seen before in term insurance, for females, the prices can be lower, right? Considering a higher mortality rate and longer life expectancy. So these are some of the broad sort of overview if I had to cover them. In terms of specific pricing though, if I had to talk about some numbers, for a 25-year-old male buying a 1 crore term plan, the salaried term plan would cost about 9,500 or so per year. Their Digi-Shield plan would cost about 11,000 change. And the income plan that we spoke about, that would be somewhere around 26,000
Okay.
per year for an income of about 50,000 rupees per month should something happen. So this is what you can see from the pricing that yes, this one is priced quite competitively, right? Even compared to the Digi-Shield plan.
Correct.
And in case if I were to increase the age of the individual to 35 from 25, what was 9,000 change would now become 14,000. The Digi-Shield, which used to be 11, would be about 15, 16. And the income plan, which is about 25,000 earlier, is now looking at about 28, 29,000. So more or less a proportion increase. Nothing significant sort of stands out here.
All right. So now in terms of the recommendations that we have at Ditto, Max Life, HDFC Life. So how are the premiums priced based on that?
So once again, let me give it to you with an example of the same profile, a 25-year-old, 1 crore plan till 65. The Digi-Shield plan was about 11,600. The salaried term plan was about 9,500 or so. This is the benchmark we've set for Aditya Birla. Coming to Max Life, they're reasonably priced, quite close, somewhere about 10,100 a year. ICICI is a bit higher at about 10,900. And HDFC is even more expensive than the Digi-Shield plan. They're at about 11,900. So I think, yeah, this is what it would compare. And like you can see, they're quite competitive. Nothing really stands out or no added advantage either.
Okay.
So they're offering similar prices, but they're also, competing with some of the largest players out there in the industry.
All right. So finally, what's the final word on Aditya Birla Sun Life Insurance?
So I think based on our analysis, they really do stand out as a solid player, right? Like we just looked at in terms of pricing as well, they're able to compete with some of the large players out there. In terms of features, they're quite comprehensive. They offer the accident plans, their waiver of premium coverage, critical illness, all the benefits, right, that are generally available out there. Coming to the operational metrics, like we saw, complaint volume as well was quite low. In fact, lower than even some of these brands at about 5 complaints every 10,000.
Right.
So honestly, from that front, no complaints or no issues as such. The only thing I would say is that yes, they're a smaller player when compared to the top 3 or top 5 out there. So that's something that's up to a user, right? Whether he wishes to take that risk or would he want more peace of mind going with one of the larger established players out there.
Understood.
But other than that, nothing against them. They really are a good option available.
That's great. That's a good insight, Sushant, and thank you so much for going into detail of Aditya Birla and life insurance. Now, folks, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you have any doubts, please put them in the comments below. And we will see you in the next one. Until then, happy insurance hunting.